Hi guys, James here. Welcome to Boulder Goes Wonderworks, and welcome to in the inbox review part 2 for the Airfix's 124th Messerschmitt Bf109G-5/G6. Now, before I get into the meat and potatoes of the kit, which is the instructions, I noticed something yesterday. I literally unpacked the sprues, left it alone for a bit, and lo and behold, the wing has straightened up. Now, whether it's a packing issue, again, we did have a lot of plastic bags in the kit, and that. So yeah, so I'm relieved at that. So obviously, if you're going to basically shoot your mouth off about the sprues, take them out of the bag and let them leave them for a bit and just see if they straighten themselves up, because they possibly do. You're saving Airfix a lot of bother in contacting them, but obviously it is literally a packaging issue. So as you could see with the bags, and this one was one of the this sprue was the second sprue out of the box, the second package out of the box, with two smaller sprues underneath. Obviously the other one's packed and it pushing that wing down. So I left it alone and it straightened up. So it's interesting. So they got to look at their packaging. But needless to say, yeah. Again, I am relieved. So I shall leave that. I'll put that sprue back away. Yeah, on the box. And now we'll have a look at the instructions. Again, mine are ripped. Front page is off. Take the instructions out. The decals out a minute. And all three colour callouts and stencil data. So basically, set this up a little bit. There we go. Now, boom, beautiful image of the engine we've got here. If you've watched Nigel's part 5, you'll be squeaking at it. Nigel was excited, he was squeaking at it. So obviously it says wash paint parts. Aside from the sprue, I don't think I think I will wash it when I do it. And obviously some parts will not be needed. Has all the detailed history of the kit, so knock yourself out with that bit. Assembly instructions here. Obviously assembly icons. Then it puts, why has it got nose weight in it? So hey-o. Now, first page has the scheme histories. So yeah, obviously they're all three of those are yellow 14, as you know. That one was found by well, let's move this. Let's pull the lead out there. This one was found by the Americans. Found abandoned. So yeah. Obviously, this one's the G5 version. Obviously, cowling interior colours, very important. So we've got to start, obviously, A, B, C and E. So bum, 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 and bum, that version. I've got to be like that. D version, it's the Erla cowling. That's got to be like that. So 32's matte dark grey and 240's RLM2. So yeah. Obviously choose how you want to display your Bf109 here. Either closed, fully closed up, or fully open. Got some pretty cool details there. And this one has the engine details. It tells you what everything is. This one has different stencil details for different planes. Obviously, Daimler-Benz, the what's it? Cool. That is really cool. Sorry. That'll keep someone occupied for a few hours. No, when building this model with the engine cowlings open, follow steps 1 to 60 on pages 8 to 12. Miss out steps 61 to 86 on pages 13 to 14. Blah, blah, blah. Miss out the steps and then boom. And go to step 61. So basically, you're building up your engine block, cylinder heads, fitting your cylinder heads. Well, they are technically the cylinder heads, even though it's inverted. Obviously, building up your spindle. Don't glue this piece in. Put the cover on there. Boom. All your bits and pieces going on the engine. Obviously gluing that. Obviously removing those pips on it if you're not doing version E. Gluing that bit on. I mean, having built the H out of the Typhoon, I know how long it took me to paint the parts up. So I'm quite a fan of building the engine up with all the details on it, priming it black, and then picking out all the bits that need to be picked out. because most of the engine's black anyway. Fitting this greeble here, which is, let's have a look, 16. Magneto, that is, build out Magneto. Yada yada yada. That's the supercharger. There was a little bit of a query on whether that should be blue inside there, and Nigel found out that it wasn't. Building up the intakes for the supercharger. And fitting those on there. Bit of seam work to deal with these pieces. And that's we're at step 29 by now. Next up, all these little bits fitted, fitting up the engine supports, showing the locations that side. Again, make sure you fit the pipe in that way. Fit the pipe in, otherwise there'll be tears. Getting that located. Obviously you decided the upper surface colour. Of the engine exhaust here. Obviously you don't glue those in place until you've actually fitted the engine, because obviously the other wings and that will have an interference fit with the bum. Obviously fitting up the pipework, fitting up the oil radiator. We've got the wonderful piece of cabling pipework or whatever on that side. Fitting some more pipework in. Fitting the bit on the end of the front, the end of the supercharger there, which is blue, by the way. And then we're on to your hydro oil tanks. That one is for the E version. Yeah, because this is the compressor for the high altitude cockpit. So it's obviously one that I'll be building. Or hopefully I'll be building. Fitting some more pipework on there. Fitting the support for the upper parts of the cowlings. Fitting the front parts of the cowlings. Obviously note the alignment there. Boom. And this is the bit with the different versions of the engine for the closed up canopy. So you've got to cut off, well, file off with using this bit as a jig. It's purple. So they clearly, they said use side P of part G6 as a jig, do not glue. So it's purple is a jig. Okay, orange, blue, green is remove. So that's why they don't put those in the key at the beginning, because otherwise people will see that, they'll glue that bit on and forget about that, and it will be bad. So you've got rinse and repeat on both cylinder heads. Build that up as a dummy, etc. Put the supercharger on. put the a different set of engine mounts on this one, different exhaust mounts on here. It's it's simplified, and again, engine built, job done. Then we have the cockpit details. So no, it's not E. It's E's that version. That one's got the Erla canopy, and that one hasn't. That's the G6. Sorry, different version. I do beg your pardon. And that's the one with the Erla canopy. So this has got a different instrument panel layout with all the decals. Knock yourself out. Again, they're explaining what all those dials do. Interesting. Spark plug cleaner. Spark plug cleaning handle. Emergency undercarriage handle. Don't get those two mixed. The red and yellow and red. Don't get those two mixed up. Obviously building up the cockpit on that side and this side. Stabilised trim and flap control wheels there. Throttle and fuel cock there and there. All the copper pipes. So where is it? I can't find the bloody colours. I put the bloody paints away, ain't I? Well, oh no, the copper colours up at the other workbench. So yeah, paint all your copper pipe work. That's this is the fuel feed pipe. So leave that piece clear. Lots and lots of decals to keep make the same person go mad. Circuit breaker and etc. Boom. So again, A for the G6, building up the cockpit seat, fitting the lap belts there. Obviously you can thin those down a little bit if you wish. Drilling holes, obviously per version, there's that note there. Step 113. Oh yes, they're for the seat belts. So if you're lucky enough to have the old fabric seat belts or PE seat belts, you don't worry about drilling those holes. That's cool. Obviously two different versions of the foot pedals here. So these are the D version. I'll be following that one. I won't be following that. Fitting those. Fitting the seat to the floor. Again, something for the E version. Ignore that. The building up the joystick. Again, putting the decal in place there. Obviously the shell tray for this cannon at the front. So putting that in place. The option for removing, you've got to trim that down for a closed canopy. A little bit further for the D version. Again, fitting the internal panel, fitting the, obviously the trim wheels there. Different trim wheels, different for the D version. So that'll be the one that I'd probably do. Fitting those in. Now you see page 15 for decals. See page 15 for decals there. Fitting that little handle on there. And then we're switching over to the back of the fuselage to do the tail wheel. The tail wheel bay. And that's page 17. That's 109 steps that to there. And then obviously fitting the cockpit to this side of the fuselage. Again, open canopy only. We've got some little holes to be cut there. Test fit the canopy. It says do not glue. Fit the seat belts. Again, it states as an option. Boom. Fit this piece in here and then fit this greeble at the back. Drill some holes. Obviously cutting the on this side. Putting some pipe work in. Putting the electrical panel in place. Putting this little lever in place. Again, closing up the fuselage. And basically fill and remove details on the starboard side of the fuselage. D only, A, B and C only. Boom. Then obviously fitting the fuel pipe in. Fitting the canopy, so obviously the D version. Again, obviously options have that open or close for the 8. Boom, boom. Version for the D. There. So do have to fit that in place when you have the open canopy. Yes, that piece has to be in place when it's got an open canopy. Right, okay. Again, fitting some vents on the side, 8 for the A, B and C version. And then we get to the wings. So obviously paint those up, fit the wing spar, put the spars in place on the port side and the starboard side. Then build up the start to build up the undercarriage bay. Obviously you've got a template to glue these pieces, to align these pieces up here, like so. Putting this piece in for the port assembly, putting this sort of like the leather, yeah, it's got leather there, so on that side. Doing the same for the starboard side, and obviously we've got to put the parts in for the front flaps, which slats retracted or slats open, so I think these have to be open. So I'm not 100% sure. Obviously we've got to remove some lumps and bumps for the D version. Or drill some, yeah, make note of doing that. Fitting the underside of the wing and fitting the wing to the fuselage. Note the alignment there. So this is where the ME109 gets big. Again, building up the tail plane, building up the elevator, building up the tail, building up the rudder. Again, you've got posability here. Fortunately, sensibly, they've got fitting the undercarriage after most of these bits have been done. So, oh, that's good. So obviously I was concerned about you knocking these parts off. You've got all different versions for the slats for the radiators to be open or closed. Knock yourself out. Obviously telling you that this is a port radiator. Starboard radiator, fit the radiators in place. Here, boom, and then the obviously doing the rear flaps open or closed. So yeah, you've got a lot of pieces here. And then we're on the wings, so we've got the flappage. So we can have them lowered, a lowered version of them in place. Then we have the ailerons. So it's set at neutral or set at banking. That's cool. One's up, one's down. That's really good. Ugh. Right, nearly there with the wings. Then of course we have the open slats, fitting those into place. Again, blanking plate or window. Again, building up the machine gun mount, putting that in place there. And then we have obviously the biggie, fitting the engine. So you've got to make sure A, it aligns on the machine, on the cannon. B, the fillets go in there. So yeah, squeaky bum time. Showing all the alignment of all the pipework down there. Alignment, yeah. You got a lot of pieces to align in there. And obviously armament details, MG131 machine gun, and MG151 20mm cannon. Leave those parts out if you're doing the cowlings closed. Okay. So it says machine gun chutes. So you might have a bit of fun fitting these, threading it all around all the pipework, but with the guns in place, I think you might want to fit those first, because it gives you a little bit of wiggle room. Again, the fairings for to go in at the front of the end, at the beginning of the machine guns. Fit those in place. Again, building up bottom panel, drilling holes to fit the drop tank version. Fitting that into place. So again, you're going to have to be careful about knocking the undercarriage off. Which I suspect you can fit at this point. Again, building up a radiator or the oil cooler, whatever it is, and close position only. Building up the undercarriage legs. Again, not sure how strong it is. May well want to reinforce that with some wire, brass wire. Again, this side also. Glue that into place. Fitting the undercarriage doors. Again, we've got a mask option on this. So you've got to drop that down and put it up a bit, I think. Okay, that's cool. Putting the cover on the bottom like that. The wheels, obviously A, B, D and E, Continental on the wheel there. Obviously the C version hasn't got Continental because they're like remolds. You build those up earlier, let them dry, and then deal with any seam on them, paint them, etc. Then gluing on the rims, fitting the wheels, and then obviously most of these parts are for different versions. So obviously the Canon to fit. So you've got options to have that on open or closed. Boom, boom. So obviously if you ignore that page if you've done this kit. Then setting this up with the What's It Bay cover open. Obviously the intake for the supercharger, fitting the filters, drilling some holes if they're required. And there we go. And yeah, and then we've got the fun and games of fitting those in place. Again, we have the gun sights, Revi C/12D, which is fitted to A, B, C and E version. D version is this one. So fitting either of those. And then obviously we're onto the canopies here. Early canopy open, early canopy closed, canopy open. And obviously fitting the carefully fitting the armoured glass at the front. D version. R10 and R11 and R9 version of the canopies. Yeah. Few bits to fit there. And then obviously this is the E version. Fitting the aerial. Mast requirements. Navigation lights. States that's the pitot tube as the undercut side colour. Building up the spinner for the prop. Scheme C only. And fitting that in piece in there. And this bit's a little bit fairly comprehensive. Fitting the props, assembling this prop, give you a nice, I think that's full 1:1 template. So you can put that the front, the spinner on the hub on the thing, and fit the props around it like that. Brilliant. Boom, boom. Fitting the prop, fitting the drop tank if it's required, and it's showing you the masking for the canopy. So canopies, I should say. So let's pull out this canopy mask set. Obviously, most of those masks are here. Mask set for the armoured canopy. The canopies here. Blah, blah, blah. And we've got the crosses, which is cool. And the big swirls. Yeah. So that's one mask set that looked at. Pretty cool, that one. So I'll put this away. Then Scheme Yellow 14, Rimeka, Sicily, early July in 1943. Again, all the notes there. Obviously notes and mask options for both the masks. For the one for the swirl, so obviously I think I in theory with the swirl paint the spinner white and then mask it up and then spray it black. So yeah, just read your notes. And then this one is a Yellow 14, same captured version. A lot of red on there. Pretty cool. You can have fun with the modelling on here. That's really cool. So that's the first sheet. And then this is the second sheet. This is the C version. Again, same plane as the last one. Got different alignment issues for the roundels on the side. Big, important to read the notes. Fairly straightforward there. And this is the Erla version, which is white 10. It's got 97 on the tail. Obviously the mask can be used. So there's a slight variation of the splinter camo with shaky lines. So that is 75 and 74, that one. Again, spiral mask. Obviously they give you some tips about painting the plane as well. That's cool. That's really cool. So that's the second sheet. And the third sheet has the E version, which has really funky camo. Really, really funky camo. Again, mask for the cross on this version. And then the bit you know you really wanted to see, the stencil data. So we've got A, B and E. And then we've got the D version, which is a Messerschmitt AG. It's the actual proper Messerschmitt factory. So we've got all the other stencils, including a lot on the undercarriage. Grr. So that's the stencil data. Knock yourself out with that. And then finally, obviously, we got a lot of decals, which look absolutely frigging gorgeous. Wow. All the dials there. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. That's the decal sheet looked at. Again, a little bit twisted, but obviously it got some protection. And then we'll have a look at this other decal sheet. Mask, well, template, the interior masking template for the interior exterior. So it gives you an interior and exterior set if you cock up one of them. Yep, folks, it's a tad windy out there. And there we go. Gives you a clear explanation of which part goes where. Tail wheel masks, etc, etc. Plonk it back in there. And that's that. So, thanks all for watching. I think the kit's worth about it's a 10 out of 10, to be honest. Again, packaging, we'll give some feedback to Airfix about the packaging. So it's a 10 out of 10. Beautiful kit. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and bye for now.